MotoGP legend Casey Stoner believes Francesco Pecco Bagnaia will eventually benefit from Marc Marquez's current stranglehold on the sport, even though the Italian is finding himself in the shadow of his new Ducati teammate. Bagnaia, the 2022 and 2023 world champion and last year's runner-up to Jorge Martin, has struggled to match the relentless pace of Marquez in 2025. The eight-time world champion has been nothing short of unstoppable, winning 9 of the 13 Grands Prix so far this season and stringing together 12 consecutive race and sprint victories, building a commanding 142-point lead at the top of the standings. Ironically, Marquez's closest challenger is not Bagnaia but his younger brother Alex Marquez, riding the GP24 for Gresini.
Welcome to GP Time. Don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon for more updates.
Pecco sits third in the championship, more than 55 points adrift of Alex, with his only win of the year coming at Coda, a race Marc had been leading comfortably before crashing out. Many had predicted Bagnaia to be Marquez's biggest rival this season. Instead, his inconsistent results have sparked criticism that he isn't performing at the level of a two-time champion. But Stoner, who knows a thing or two about carrying Ducati's weight on his shoulders, was quick to defend him. Right now, Marc is creating problems for everyone in the paddock, not just Pecco, Stoner told Sky Italia during the Austrian GP weekend. So I think it's a bit unfair to point fingers at Pecco when the entire grid is struggling against Marc. The Australian believes that, while painful, racing alongside Marquez could turn out to be a blessing for Bagnaia in the long run. Sharing the same garage with Marc can only help Pecco. You learn the most during the toughest times. If he takes in as much information as he can this year, he'll be able to use it next season. As long as you keep pushing and working, eventually you'll find something, Stoner explained. The arrival of Marc Marquez at Ducati has dramatically shifted the balance within the factory squad. For 2 seasons, Bagnaia was the face of Ducati's golden era, delivering back-to-back titles and cementing himself as their franchise rider. But Marquez's sheer speed and adaptability have reshaped the dynamic in the garage, and suddenly Bagnaia is the one chasing instead of leading. The contrast was clear at the Red Bull Ring. Bagnaia came into Austria as the undisputed king of Spielberg, having won the previous 3 editions of the race. This year he started strong, looking capable of battling for another podium. But as the laps wore on, he faded badly, slipping from 2nd to 8th, a result that symbolized the uphill battle he faces. For critics, it raised questions about Pecco's mental resilience when confronted with a teammate who thrives under pressure. Yet for Stoner, this season may be exactly what Bagnaia needs to evolve. With Marquez marching toward a 9th world title, Ducati's challenge is no longer just to win championships but to keep Bagnaia motivated and progressing. Stoner believes this year can serve as a reset rather than a setback. MotoGP is always changing. Things can flip in an instant. If Pecco keeps his head down and takes every lesson he can, he'll come back stronger, Stoner insisted. For Bagnaia, 2025 might not be the season of glory, but it could be the season of growth. He now has access to the same machinery as one of the greatest riders of all time, and that experience, however brutal in the moment, could be the foundation for a resurgence in 2026. The question is, with the championship already slipping away, can Bagnaia steal a statement victory before the season ends, or will he have to wait until next year to truly reclaim his place at the top? The Austrian Grand Prix at the Red Bull Ring was another showcase of Ducati's dominance, but also a reminder of the contrasting fortunes within the factory team. Marc Marquez conquered the Spielberg circuit for the very first time in his career, taking both the sprint and the Grand Prix with authority, while Francesco Bagnaia endured another frustrating weekend at one of his historically strongest tracks. For Ducati course general manager Gigi Dall'Igna, it was a weekend of mixed emotions. Chiaroscuro, as he described it in his traditional post-race debrief on social media. Marquez, who had never previously triumphed at the Red Bull Ring, delivered an immaculate performance to extend his extraordinary run of form. Despite suffering a crash in qualifying that forced him to start from 4th on the grid, the Spaniard carefully crafted his race with the patience and tactical brilliance that has defined his 2025 season. An unstoppable Marc wins in Austria for the first time in his career, adding the 6th consecutive double to his record, lifting Ducati's tally at the circuit to 10, Dall'Igna reflected. It was a race built on a targeted strategy, managed with great sagacity after an unlucky qualifying. Marc knew how to bide his time, manage the tires perfectly, and delivered the decisive attack in the second half. It was Marquez's 12th consecutive sprint and Grand Prix victory, a streak that has not only shattered Ducati's internal hierarchy, but also the confidence of rivals who have yet to find an answer to his form. While much of the spotlight naturally fell on Marquez, Bagnaia also reserved high praise for Fermín Aldeguer. The 19-year-old Spaniard, riding for Gresini Ducati, delivered one of the most eye-catching performances of the weekend. After his third place at Le Mans, Aldeguer was the protagonist of a fabulous test here, on a track that, as he says himself, he doesn't even like. Bagnaia remarked. It was a marvelous performance, an exciting comeback, and an impressive race pace until the finish, that of a true champion. It shows the courage and talent of a rookie, but with the composure of a rider well beyond his 20s. Congratulations to him and Team Gresini, always one of the key players. Aldeguer's growth has been one of the standout storylines of the season, marking him not just as a promising rookie, but as a genuine contender for podiums and, maybe even victories in the near future. Of course, the most sensitive topic remains Bagnaia. The two-time world champion began the weekend with strong pace, looking like he might finally challenge Marquez for victory on a circuit where he had previously won 3 times in a row. But in both the sprint and the Grand Prix, small setbacks combined with, a bit of misfortune, dragged him down the order. In the main race, he faded from podium contention to 8th at the checkered flag. Pecco tried hard to fight for a podium that seemed within reach, Bagnaia acknowledged. It was a weekend that began very well, but things took a different turn due to several unfortunate incidents. The key word remains positivity. We have no doubt about the potential of the champion and the bike. Together we must pitch our efforts as always. Bagnaia emphasized the mental side of racing, urging Bagnaia and the team not to be consumed by frustration. When things go wrong, there is always something that adds up and gets in the way. One must keep a clear head, consider the positives, and start again from there. Pecco showed strong form in practice at the start of the weekend. That's the foundation to build on. Experience teaches us that disappointment must be accepted, confronted, and turned into motivation, he said. Despite Bagnaia's setbacks, Ducati once again walked away with the maximum reward victory in both the sprint and the Grand Prix, courtesy of Marquez. The Italian manufacturer continues to set the standard in MotoGP, even as rival factories such as Aprilia and KTM show signs of progress. More generally, I'm happy with what we are doing, Bagnaia concluded. I thank all the guys who are working so hard, even more so at a time when the signals of reaction from our competitors are so strong and clear. As the 2025 season continues, Ducati faces a dual challenge, maintaining Marquez's crushing momentum while also restoring Bagnaia's confidence. For Bagnaia, the key lies in balance, celebrating success without ignoring the struggles within. In Austria, Ducati once again proved they have the best package on the grid. But for Bagnaia, the search for answers goes on.